Hi, I'm Vernon Reid, and we're here with American Musical Supply. So the people that influenced me to play guitar early on, well, I grew up listening to pop music. So I would start to pick out guitar parts, like some of the Motown songs had very interesting guitar parts, like I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 has fabulous guitar parts. The theme from Shaft is defined by Wah Wah Pedal, all of James Brown's singles. But the first kind of melodic guitar that made me really lean in was Black Magic Woman, Carlos Santana's Black Magic Woman and Gypsy Queen. And then Hendrix after Carlos. And then I just started really paying attention to lead breaks. So there are a lot of different players that influenced me. And there were also local people, local guys that people who know like Larry Marsden, who's from Brooklyn, Arthur Rames, who's a phenomenal musician, Andre LaSalle, who taught me Little Wing. so there are a lot of different people. Ronnie Drayton, who played with Edwin Birdsong and Nona Hendrix, a phenomenal guitar player. So there are a lot of different voices I heard on the instrument that influenced me. Ted Dunbar actually taught at Jazzmobile, so I took some lessons with him, but it was in a kind of group context. I took private lessons with Rodney Jones. I did have a semester with Ted Dunbar yelling at us, and then I really studied with Bruce Johnson and actually his student Rodney Jones, and they taught me the importance of time, the importance of melody, the importance of individuality. Like one of the things that Bruce Johnson, he was very anti-hero on a level. The whole thing of musicians worshiping like a musician like John Coltrane. He was very iconoclastic. He was like, I don't give a about. And his point was not that he didn't dig Coltrane, but he was like, well, why doesn't Eddie Harris get the same? Eddie Harris is great. He was like, so he was like, be your own hero. Have your own voice. That was a lot of where Bruce was coming from. And Rodney was just very patient. Very patient with me. So one of the things about influence is essential. We're not gonna do anything without influence, but influence has to be put in context. I think it's very, very important that your influences don't subsume who you are. And a lot of times you hear someone that's doing something fabulous that we can't do, and we think, if I can get that, that'll fix everything. And it's really not about that. It's actually about finding yourself, and that's the hardest journey, because you find things out about yourself that maybe you don't like. The thing you're trying to fix is you, and there's nothing wrong. You're not broken. You need to go deeper into that thing. You need to go deeper in. It's a hard road to walk, but it's really kind of the only road, really, because you'll chase after this, you'll chase after that. If something's really calling you, then you will do it. If you're meant to play blues, in however fashion you do it, you'll do it. If you're meant to play jazz, if you're a metal guy, but you're really called by jazz, you will eventually find your way to it. But if you're going to practice jazz because it's hard or you want to prove something to yourself, that's okay, but it's language. You either get the language and you start to speak it fluently, or you're thinking about scales and changes. You're thinking about, what do I play? And when you're thinking about what you're not doing it. All of that information has to become innate and unconscious. You just be with the music. Let the music take you where it's taking you. But that's an improvisational mindset. I come from a very improvisational mind space. Engaging your mind, engaging your ear, your physicality matters, and you're trying to connect all of those things together. And when you connect all of those things together, then the music can play you. And you can be played by the music, and you can just... I was in a band for a brief time with my friend Raymond Jones. He started a band called 1 AM. And the song I Want to Know that's on the first Living Color record is from that period. The first Living Color song is Funny Vibe, is the song Funny Vibe, and that really came about from an incident of going into a department store. I think it was like Macy's. I'm getting on the elevator and there's this little white lady and she sees me and she clutches her handbag. And I remember thinking, I was really in a good mood. I was in a really good mood. And this lady clutches the handbag and I was like, well, it was and from that incident, it made me so mad that I I'm not gonna rob you. I'm not gonna beat you. I'm not gonna rape you, I'm not, whatever you're projecting. The music of Funny Vibe was very influenced by a combination of prog and the fusion thing, but also kind of funk. So it's a combo platter of these kind of edgy bits, and then the verses are. So, but that's actually the first actual Living Color song. And then Corey Glover and I co-wrote Middleman. So I would say that Middleman is the second Living Color, of the style that kind of defined the style, like different influences. I didn't think about it as I want to give a message. It was actually from the actual experience. Like our first record, it's a bunch of stories about what living in New York. Like Glamour Boys was specifically about like Soho, like shops in Soho, where you walk in and you just be ignored. Open Letter to a Landlord is like inspired by walking by the neighborhood park and thinking, what if the park wasn't there? My local park in Brooklyn, it was amazing things happened there. Like one time, one of the Harlem Globetrotters, Curly Neal, he actually came to the park and played the pickup game with a bunch of dudes. And the whole thing on the sidelines, that's Curly Neal. That ain't Curly Neal. That's Curly Neal. Because the thing is, so Curly Neal's playing these guys, and he's playing straight basketball. He's just playing straight basketball. And dude's like, that ain't him. That's him. That ain't him. And all of a sudden, he started to do Globetrotter tricks. And that's how we got told, oh yeah, that's him. And plus, walked out the park, and he had a Jaguar XKE, and his vanity plate said Curly. So I thought, man, what if the park wasn't there? Like all this fabulous stuff, because this place was in the neighborhood. The thing about the music from all that time ago is everything we talked about is in effect right now. Everything that's on those records is what we're living through right now. And it's weird. When you hear now about people like, someone is walking up the street and somebody calls the cops on them. I'm like going, man, Funny Vibe it's gotten crazy right now. The gentrification that's going on right now, where people are being harassed, like there's a whole thing about how to get people out of rent control apartments. So many things, and Cult of Personality almost needs no mention about what we're living through. We were just talking about what it means to be American. Like, all our records are about that. I've had people say that they've had profound, that they listened to the songs and it made a difference for them. And it made, and that's something, it's an unintended benefit. The only thing artists should do is be real. Artists really needs to be real. I think wanting to say something to people, or you have to have the conversation starts with you, or the story starts with you. You have to tell the story and tell it, or say the thing, the end. Like everything else, how people interpret it, that's because the music has a life of its own. As controlling as musicians can be and as skilled as we can be, the music has its own life. Circumstances may change, but the actual truth of a thing is fairly immutable. There's nothing like music. Music occupies a space that's so visceral. I mean, it can really change your mood, really change how the day is occurring for you. You know, I was thinking about Little Red Corvette. You know, when I was working a job in Long Island City, and it didn't look like Living Color was anything was going to happen. It wasn't looking. But Little Red Corvette, when that would come on the radio on WNEW, that was the fuel, a little bit of fuel to keep. You know, because it's just the idea that it's possible that this exists. Since this exists, then it's not totally impossible. All I can say is you gotta love it and keep it moving, and don't take no for an answer, never give up,